Next up, form follows formula, David Roth.
People! Let me give you my spiel, as we say in Italian. I'm going to continue our theme from Build Pittsburgh, which is sort of either evolve or die. Cheerful, right? So this is sort of about evolution. It's a little bit about survival, but it's mostly about competition. Competition with mostly myself, competition with my friendly colleagues out there, and above all, trying to be the best that I can be for my friends, my family, my clients. This show that you're going to see has evolved over some time, and here we go. Who believes that this car, this beautiful Ferrari, is fast because it's because of the way it's functioning? I guess there it goes. Our first failure. Beautiful. You told me it was working great. The question is, does form follow function, or does function follow form? Do we have any answers out there? Who thinks that form follows function?
Yes. I'm confused.
Okay, well the bottom line is that this is the project, okay? This is all of us working on the project at once. The project is very complicated. Our field of architecture takes a lot of people to work on it. It's an endeavor that's like a team sport. It's really important that everybody knows the role that they're going to play on it. And it's also, in our field these days, about flexibility. Form has to follow not only function, but flexibility. And it's about user control. This is how the folks in Formula One car racing put together their idea of how to handle each track. Each car is set up for each particular track and can be customized. So when I started watching this, and I guess this does not look like the way it's supposed to look on the screen. So who knew when I started watching Formula One car racing that it would come down to a race between two architects, two of our favorite architects. One of them is Norman Foster, who designed this amazing building in England. This is a research, development, and production facility, and this is what the architecture of Formula One looks like. This is, again, keep in mind, is form following function, or is function following the form of this building? This building is emblematic of a lot of the stuff that we're asked to do. This was put into a very unique natural setting where they had to go through all kinds of different environmental regulation requirements. They had to literally relocate several species while this thing was under construction. It's a green building. It's cooling itself with that beautiful pond out there. But most of all, it's bringing people together. This building has brought together people from 14 different buildings under one roof to design, produce, and research the idea of these amazingly fast cars that are put together. These cars are constantly evolving between every race. And just, in fact, read this morning that Ferrari is working on a special fit-out in their Renzo Piano designed wind tunnel. This wind tunnel runs 24/7, 365. In fact, they have two of them in case one breaks down. This thing, you know, NASA, they have a budget. Ferrari has no budget. This was Renzo Piano's approach. He sort of actually had to relocate no species. He actually built this wind tunnel right next to the little stupid hill that existed there. And he had to fit it right in next to the factory in this town in Italy called Maranello, where the Ferraris are born. This is where this thing is running 24/7. This is about the only final frontier in technology in car racing these days. It's computational fluid dynamics, or basically aerodynamics, and how the air moves around the project. I often think about my own projects and think about how much resistance my clients might be giving me. So anyway, here's my formula. This was my epiphany, and it's sort of, I guess you guys can't see this list of ideas that are coming down one by one, but essentially it's a list of 10 items that I do to every project. You know how Bill Cowher would have 10 plays at the beginning of every football game to run? But my formula is also based on nature. You know, one of the things that I realized in designing buildings to fit into a natural setting is that it's more important to sort of design with nature. And there is this philosophy in nature called fractal design, which sort of is similar in the sense that items as they are made, like a snowflake, are what nature calls self-similar. Every piece of it is the same as the other piece. One of my other passions is Japanese paper folding, or origami as we call it. And that's the example of my origami, and of course that evolved into my color wheel, which is a green color wheel, in which all the colors are green, and we have complementary systems. Right, so anyway, those 10 items came to be in this one project that I did about 4 years ago for the competition for the bridge at the West End Bridge pedestrian crossing. This is a beautiful piece, sort of in the spirit of the architect Renzo Piano, where he would take one element, and we created this image of an amazing island. I call it an island of steel that's built underneath the West End Bridge. It's a series of barges that would be permanently moored under the bridge. And this is the one project where I was able to actually get all 10 items on my list, the shades of green list. And here are some of them. The idea of there being recycled materials like fly ash being used in making this thing. There's also what we would call a living machine that's on board there to process the waste from the public park restroom facilities that might be located there. So again, this is sort of a vision of a possible future, and the whole thing is designed in such a way that it would create this amazing tower. This is a tower built of those singular pieces, those singular elements, all stacked together. There's actually 88 pieces of there to represent the 88 neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. And they're all stacked up to be able to access this view from this tower. This is actually a lighthouse tower, and you've seen this view as you're coming in down West Carson Street. This is that amazing view, which sort of embeds this place in Pittsburgh and might be a really good way to cap off the Riverfront Park as we're now nearing completion of that project. So this was the one project that I did where I was able to get all 10 of those items and hopefully bring the project on time, on budget, across the finish line to victory.